Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have the third in a series of 3 between Haymaker's team and Osama bin Lifton's team. We're going to be doing this whole thing on neutral, so Haymaker's team is blue, Osama bin Lifton's team is red in this Knights and Squires tournament game, and I have with me here today NDMO, returning from doing some 1v1 reviews, here to take a look at the 2v2 tournament scene. So you want to introduce yourself and let us know your thoughts?
Yeah, sure thing. Just an instructor coming back to hang out with BL7 here tonight. And what we have here is a blue on blue engagement that's looking to me, if I were going to say, just not seeing it at all, seeing it for the first time, it's looking like it's going to be centered around Bravo, around the so-called phallic forest, as we like to call it around here.
Oh my goodness! All right.
We're gonna see. What I'm interested in is how this game is only 10 minutes long. So
which is why we're in 0.5 speed right now, by the way.
I'm curious to see what kind of grind or opening brutality can occur to make a grind match on Paddy Field, no less, end so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, so what I expected to see when I saw the length here was one or the other team playing Israel, because the MAR 290 is just amazing on this, the LAR 160 is amazing on this.
It's so yucky, yeah, for sure, totally.
Yeah, but I don't see it, so it looks like Osama's team, we have, what, probably UK, probably Commonwealth, and then we have something with the automatics, probably Scandinavia, I would imagine. And then I do also want to comment the map selection. There are no rules in the tournament other than that both teams agree. So this was mutually chosen by both teams as their third map. Despite the fact that it's a 1v1 map, it's really small. It can be really cramped. Let's take a look.
Looks like Commonwealth mechanized.
From who? From Osama?
Red 4.
Yeah, could be. Not the worst choice, honestly. The Commonwealth mech still gets things like the Rover Wombat, you still get things like the Vickers. I worry if I speed this up to speed 1, we're gonna miss something here, and it looks like red is getting a little bit bloodied. Oh no. This could be what does it.
So, those are, okay, so this is Blue Dragon's unspec. Honestly, I don't think what's happening right now here is actually important at all. It looks to me like the heaviest stuff is going to be in Bravo, the penis force, because it's shaped as such. Notice how so what you have here is Commonwealth mech deploying on the top, and then you have what I presume is either NORAD unspec or mech. It's gonna be unspec. Those are canned 90.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be a big decisive fight here, but then also, let's go back open to the open objective towards the left. I said it wasn't important earlier, but what I'm actually wondering is if the QMRs clear out all this infantry and then they just push up into Red Force 2-pointer, and that's what causes the early rout and the ending of the match.
And that's something I'm thinking about as well, is like, this looks to me like it's most of Toby Nambur's entire opener. Like, if we go to his perspective, this is everything. And there's nothing that can deal with those double Qs. And remember, QMR Shikis have that really fast rate of fire as well, so they can tear through lesser armored targets way quicker, and the plane loss.
There goes a block 5.
Honestly, so one of the challenges of the Knights and Squires tournament, one of the reasons I like this sort of format, even when it was, the Adopt a Noob on Blitzwar community channel, is because teams have to manage both their players. They have to manage your newer player matching up in a lane against the more experienced player from the other team. It's a possibility. It's something they have to expect and manage. And right now it looks like Haymaker is, oh, goodness gracious. It looks like Toby Namber has just been run over. And unless Osama can do the same to Kihao here on the Blue 4 team, that's not going to have the same sort of impact. And I think just by virtue of Bravo being more of a grind, we're not going to see that sort of dynamic, everything is just gone.
Haymaker has completely established dominance.
Yeah, so wow, holy cow. I mean, we're less than 3 minutes in, and this, honestly, I would understand if Red hit surrender right now, let alone in 8 minutes. And I gotta say, we had 2 really surprising games earlier on in the series. We had a lot of good play there back and forth, and what is interesting to me is that Osama's win in game 1, it was a relatively protected game if memory serves, and Haymaker and Kihao, their win in game 2 was quite a bit quicker. And I almost wonder
what that Peace Pheasant is going for. Boy, I wonder. Okay.
Phantom 2. Beautiful.
And that's a kill.
Yeah, 90
Splash
point
one.
played. Yep.
A Phantom Menace in action.
So, I wonder if there's something about just the team composition where certain knights like to play quicker, certain knights like to play slower, and it's sort of like in 1v1 in ranked ladder, there are people who believe that the best sort of game is a 5-minute game where their opponent either surrenders or loses the entire map. And then there are players like me who prefer to have the sort of thing where either win in 40 minutes or my opponent surrenders at 20 because they realize there's nothing they can do in the remaining 20 minutes to claw the game back. So I wonder if we're going to see similar things from Haymaker and Osama bin Laden in other series of 3 in the tournament. And
I find interesting right now, looking at the front, is that there is a lack of air activity on Red Force part. You had the initial block 5, and other than that, Blue Force Q-Maros are just allowed to operate without any meaningful resistance whatsoever, and that's not good for them.
Red can't really
Commonwealth
even see
gets the
them either.
Kahu, you get good helicopter. Like, I don't know, yeah, this is definitely totally lopsided in Blue's favor right now because those 2 Q-Miles are going to allow them to exert so much pressure
It looks
when
like
they
you're
otherwise
right
wouldn't be
here as
able
well.
to.
Like, so
Yeah, there we go.
They're just seeing if they can get up here for free. It's like, you see people doing this, they're not doing it because the So Chang-Su is going to come up here and kill everything or even survive that long. It's really just a statement of, I have something really far forward that's alive. That means I can have stuff going up to it. It means I can maybe even press a little bit farther. That sort of poke and prod can definitely just, it can help you guide yourself into an advantage later on. And so these guys are up here, they're safe. Well, okay. If nothing kills them, there will be follow-up, I guarantee it. And
in a 1v1 ranked environment, you usually don't see such aggressive maneuvering simply because you can't afford to do it. Like, best case scenario, if I'm in Blue Force position, I can afford to send up like 1 infantry squad and then it'll die because you always have at least 1 infantry squad in Hotel. But because of how concentrated everyone's forces is, this is a 1v1 map. Red 4 completely routed, and so now Blue 4, it's exactly what you said. They're going to be able, what I think what's going to happen, they're going to set themselves up for success for what I believe will be a successful 2-pointer incursion in Hotel.
yeah, and I mean, other things that we can't do, other differences, because that, I mean, 1v1 and 2v2 are very different formats. That double key Marashiki opener, if I saw somebody do that to me 1v1 Patty in ranked, I'd be really happy. And I'd be really happy because, yeah, I'd just go right through here and I'd push their 2-point, and what are they going to do? Their Qs are over here, and you know, it's 340 points that's not dealing with what I'm bringing in to pressure Bravo and Charlie. But here, you can't do that same thing because you have an entire other player to hold this side with Pioneers, to hold it with Riflemen. I do want to see... Yeah, okay, good. Emra are interesting for a frontline pick. I do this in mech as well, but I find that 2 just don't get enough punch and still die pretty quickly. You ever use these sorts of units, or really not your speed?
No, yeah. So they're 5 men. That's the problem, but that's basically it. Because these are really actually great for HE output.
Yeah.
In a team game or in a 1v1 setting, they're better in 1v1 in my opinion because in team games, because they're 5 men, you know, you're in a team game, you're probably gonna bump into a 4-stack of Core Mariner more commonly than in a 1v1. So 5-men squads are always inherently at a disadvantage, but they have niche uses in 1v1s. So,
Yeah.
but Emra being 15 RPM, that's 2 HE per shot. They have 18 AP. They are definitely like a meta pick, depending on what you plan on doing with them.
No, I'll actually push back on you a little bit there about the elites. I take these, I take Ildstadte Gruppe in Scandi Mech on ranked, and I buy it if I know I'm going against Moto.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Yeah, because
No
they'll
pushback
actually...
there. I think that's
yeah.
a great pick.
Yeah, fair enough. You'd be surprised how quickly a quad stack of 10-point, basically just law teams or like Carl Gustav M2 teams can kill an entire squad of elites. It's really
Oh yeah,
goofy.
no, in East German mech or Eastern Bloc mech, Panzernovici and the East German version of those, I forgot what they're called, with their fist RPGs. Yeah, they're so difficult to deal with if you're not prepared to, because they just melt your infantry. Special forces are not.
You know what's really a shame? It looks to me like this is a fight that Osama just needed a little bit more time to win. Like, there's a lot of stuff down here. The M1 Abrams has been replaced, but there's more commandos, and there's going to be even more commandos, and there's going to be assault pioneers, and I think, given enough time, Osama could probably push past Kihao here, but now Haymaker is bringing units in. The success over in Gulf has translated into the other side of the map as well. And
Yeah. Here, so pause it right here. Let's extrapolate on what you're like, because that's exactly what I was gonna. That you touched on it first. If we zoom out a little, you can see the disposition of the two teams. Blue 4 is now combining their forces. You're seeing Kiyomaru's operating with riflemen, Abrams, and CSs, whereas because of the disjointed command of Red 4's forces, so Osama and Toby, what you're seeing is that Osama is being forced to take the brunt of the fighting in Penis Forest because Haymaker has already finished up in Gulf. He is now free to maneuver on the other flank to assist Kihao. And so that's that team play dynamic coming in full force now, whereas one team can exert their forces, their pressure together, right? Black Knight versus what we see on Red 4 with Osama being stuck, having to lift both Haymaker and Kihao away from his upper part of the plateau.
You know, it's always kind of ironic. It always kind of strikes me that I've seen plenty of people give the criticism that too many people play Conquest like it's Destruction with extra steps. But, you know, even though that can be true and you need to really prioritize the zones, we're seeing a prime example, in my opinion, of what happens when you're just down on trading by too much too fast. And to a certain extent, like, unit preservation is key, and the differences in that are part of what makes the higher rank and lower rank players, in my opinion. Like, that's part of how we get the separation between knights and squires, is just people who are better at keeping their stuff alive while achieving objectives. And Toby's opener, if successful, would have really locked down Triangle. It could have gotten them some nice board position. It was done with intention, with purpose, and it just wasn't able to keep itself alive.
Stopped by 2 tanks and a Nighthawk.
Right.
Which, by the way, was team-based. So you had the 2 Kiyomarus collaborating with the Nighthawk strike. So just another example of team interconnectedness right there versus Red 4.
Well, I think that might pretty much be the tail of the tape here. I don't think there's going to be all that much more that we can really point out. I mean,
Blue 4 is successful. They pushed past the 2-pointer there, so they didn't kill the CV yet. But yeah, this is definitely a blowout.
I think there was a video up on my channel a little bit ago called "I Get Motoed," and yeah, that was by Haymaker. He's really, really, really good at this sort of infiltration, and even with mech units, goes for the same thing.
His Commonwealth Moto, I've had the displeasure of playing against it. It's definitely it's a force to be reckoned with, without a doubt.
For sure. And oh no, yeah, okay, I understand. Oh well, that will that'll end the series of 3. It looks like 2-1 to Haymaker's team. Now there has been a little bit of a change in the tournament formats. We had a fair number of teams who were not able to schedule on time, and in the interest of, you know, concluding the tournament in a reasonable amount of time and offering still a good experience to those people who are involved in it, in a couple of days we're going to be going to a 1v1, sorry, well, not 1v1, we're going to do a single elimination traditional bracket with the remaining teams. So this game you're seeing right now, some of the other ones that you're going to see, basically consider them practice series of 3 for the teams to get used to playing with their teammates because of that format switch. I know it's not what was initially promised. Unfortunately, we have to just sort of make do with the participation and the presence that we still have. And if you are listening and you are in one of those 2 teams, in one of the teams that are remaining, I'm very grateful for it. I'm still hoping we can get a lot out of this tournament, and we'll have more tournament games here for you guys real soon. Thank you all for hanging around, and NDMO, thank you for being here. You're an instructor on boot camp. Highly recommend. If you're looking for some advice, seek him out. And if you have any final things to say.
This was a fast game. I'm definitely curious to see what the others were like.
All right, very well. Thank you guys for hanging around. We'll see you again real soon.